Good early afternoon. We are live. I'm Andy Andrews. You joined us for a Tuesday edition of the Blue Plate Special, where we are broadcasting everywhere. Shanda Danner, happy Tuesday to you. And today is also the very first day of the new season of the Orange Beach Lady Makos. What have y'all got? You've got your own big rings, I see. Oh, wow. Well, not so pretty as this one. Yours are very nice, though. Mine doesn't twinkle like that. I wish you could see this. These crazy people have big monster rings and they're flashing. Unbelievable. But there's the real thing. That is the national championship ring of the Orange Beach Lady Makos. 4 state championships in a row and 1 national championship last year. And we are the preseason #1. So we're #1 on the national polls of Max Prep Sports. And tonight is the first game. It's in Spanish Fort. But I'm going up there for it. Nancy Bergen, how are you doing? Yeah, I got the Makos shirt. Marcy Taylor, how are you doing? Wendy there. I'm glad it's not cold here because I will sit in the cold, but I don't want to have to. So, you like the professional noticer this morning with Tammy Lane? Good. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's on the podcast, and you can still see that. Martin Simmons, great interview this morning. I appreciate that. That was on the podcast that you can, if you're not getting the podcast in your email, all you got to do is just go on andyandrews.com and put your email address in there. And we will send it right to you every Tuesday morning, and you can see what we're doing. Judson Perkins, how are you doing? Good to see you. And it's good to see everybody here. I know it's getting close for some of you guys, isn't it? Are y'all going back? Back to the Great White North. It's still cold up there. It's still cold. Of course, I know you're looking at me like it can be colder than it was here a couple of weeks ago. But, you know, we've got that weird weather. We had a foot of snow a couple of weeks ago, and now it's like 72 degrees and sunny out there. But Pat and Ducky, watching from your winter spot in Mission, Texas. I'm not sure where Mission, Texas is. Do you know what somebody gave me as a gift not too long ago? A lady from Tyler, Texas named Bouquet. And I had met her, 3 or 4 years ago and went into her office, and she had globes everywhere. I mean, there were probably 30 globes in her office. And I said, wow, what's with the globes? And she said, well, I grew up and never traveled and got excited about a globe, just thinking that where I traveled. Now I've traveled a lot, but I still love the globes. And so she gets the antique ones, older globes that show different lines and different countries and all of that. And so while I was there, I said, well, I'll bet you I can point out something to you on those globes that you don't know. She said, okay. And I said, find Texas. And she did. She said, I got it right here. I said, you know, on a globe, the United States map has probably the capital city and the biggest city listed, unless it's these little bitty states, you know, in the Northeast, then they'll just have the capital listed. But, Texas actually has 4 cities listed. They have Austin, which is the capital, Dallas, Houston, and Alpine, Texas. And I said, check some globes. So she went around, she said, this one has Alpine on it, this one has Alpine on it, this one has Alpine on it. And so she has, for a couple or 3 years, tried to find out why world globes have Alpine, Texas on them. I've been there twice. It's like a little bitty place, a little bitty college town. There's not 6,000 or 7,000 people there, and it's in the middle of nowhere. It's one of the few places in the United States that I have driven 50, 60 miles without seeing a house, a gas station, anything to get to Alpine, Texas. But it's a mystery as to why that ended up on globes. And so my theory is that somebody at the globe making company has a mom and daddy that live in Alpine or something. But she gave me a globe from 1959, the year I was born, and it has all the African countries are discombobulated, and there's a big sweep in Africa that went into 11 countries, and so many different things on the map. But Alpine, Texas is there. So if you ever figure out why Alpine, Texas, Pat and Dougie said Mission is as far south as you can go in Texas. We were probably near you a couple of years ago because we went south of San Antonio, like 2 hours south of San Antonio. And we were so close to the border, they had immigration stuff set up 3 miles from the border. And so that was wild. Dina Kilpatrick, you only here for 10 minutes? Make you smile? Okay. All right. You just give me a minute and I will. Christy Woods, my sister, how are you doing? Do you know what an adynaton is? What an adynaton? Adynaton. Anybody know what that is? It's kind of like, it's a word that's kind of like homonym, synonym, antonym, that kind. Adynaton. Adynaton. It is a word that describes a phrase that is saying that something is impossible. Like when pigs fly is an adynaton. So when pigs fly, or I don't know, what's another one other than when pigs fly? There's when monkeys come out of somebody's butt, I think.
And maybe when like hell freezes over or something
Yeah,
like
when
that.
hell freezes over. But there's a Hell, Michigan, right? And I think go up there when it's real cold and send a postcard to your friend, say, well, I'm in hell. And it has happened. Hell has frozen over. So all the impossible things do it. It's a type of hyperbole. And it comes from the Greek word adunaton. And adunaton in Greek means impossible. Adynaton is a figure of speech involving the use of a phrase that represents something that is highly improbable or totally impossible. So the use of this type of phrase is intended to convey that something is so improbable as to be considered impossible. So here's a few that I did some research and I found a few of these things. Then I found some of these that the most popular in particular countries, okay? But this is like, when will I go to work in the family business? When pigs fly, that's when. Can you have a pet gerbil? Not until pigs fly. Pigs will fly before I ever have sushi again. When will I buy you another video game? When pigs fly, that's when. I mean, that's how you use this stuff. And so here are some countries and the most famous Adonatans from these countries. In Bulgaria, they say, when the pig in yellow slippers climbs a pear tree. That's kind of a long one. When a pig in yellow slippers climbs a pear tree. It's easier just to remember when pigs fly. Yeah. I'm not sure I want to see a pig in yellow slippers anyway. But English, our language, we say when pigs fly, not before hell freezes over. And that derivative of that, a snowball's chance in hell. When the moon really does turn to cheese. In Finland, I like this one, but you're going to start to see a little pattern going here. But in Finland, they say, when flagpoles blossom. That's a good one, isn't it? When flagpoles blossom, I will. In French, I'll do that the first week we have 4 Thursdays. In German, they say, when Easter and Christmas coincide. That sounds kind of German, not very funny, pretty serious. When Christmas and Easter coincide. Okay. Not very funny, but I get your point. Hungarians say, yeah, I'll be there when it starts snowing red. Italy says, when donkeys fly. I think they stole that from us. In Latvian, when an owl's tail blooms. You know who the most famous Latvian is? It's Latka Gravis. Anybody? Latka Gravis? Ibida? He's the character Andy Kaufman played on the show Taxi. Hello? Hello? I am glad to see you. That was him, famous Latvian. In Arabic, they say, when salt blooms. Are you starting to see how some of these people use this bloom thing? You got a flagpole, an owl's tail, salt. In Malay, they say, when cats grow horns. That may actually happen faster than anybody thinks because cats are satanic. So they could probably grow horns faster than anybody else. So, Matt, you have, 10 cats?
Just the 2.
2? What are your cats' names?
Grandpa and Steak.
Steak?
Steak, yeah. We're going to eat him someday.
Yeah. So, your cats kind of misbehave sometimes, don't they?
All the time. Every day.
So, like how?
How? They get into everything. We got to keep strings locked up. They'll get into closets, bags, especially.
Your cats sound a lot like dogs. Getting into stuff, doing stuff.
I gotta say, Grandpa's pretty dog-like. He'll fetch. You can throw stuff, and he'll go grab it and bring it back to you.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you take him duck hunting? Will he swim out after a dead duck?
Only one way to find out.
I don't know. In Malayalam, wherever that is, they say, when the crow flies upside down. In Polish, I like this one. In Polish, when cactus grows on my palms. I mean, who thought of that? That would be tough to applaud. Cactus growing on. Ow, 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 ow. But I'm always thinking, something like this. Who comes up with this? Portuguese says, not even if it rains penknives. Portugal also does this one. The raining penknives, it's like you just put anything in there. That's when it's raining roof tiles, when it's raining largemouth bass, when it's raining penknives, you just put anything. That's an easy one to get. But this one I like. This is Portugal, and they say it will happen on the afternoon of St. Never's Day. That sounds like a real smart aleck way to say something. To tell your little kid, honey, that's going to happen. It's going to happen on the afternoon of St. Never's Day. Just wait for it. In Russian, this one is weird. Okay, but in Russian, they say, when the crawfish whistles on the mountain. In Serbia, they say when grapes grow on a willow tree. The Slovaks say when tractors fall like rain. Get out of the way. And they say when frogs grow hair. In Sweden, it will happen when there are 2 Thursdays in a week. So I wonder who stole who. Did Sweden steal that 4 Thursdays thing, or did the 4 Thursdays people steal Sweden's? It's also said as to Sundays in the same week, but other weekdays are rarely used. It's usually the Thursday. I don't know why. In Turkish, it's when fish climb poplar trees. And in Persia, they say when bamboo blossoms. There's another blossom. Be a cold day in hell before I apologize for speaking the truth. We would say, don't hold your breath. You bought a lottery ticket? Don't hold your breath. You get blood from a stone? You'll be able to get blood from a stone before I clean out the swimming pool. But don't hold your breath. Lightning in a bottle. That's one that I've heard. You'll do that. You'd be as likely to catch lightning in a bottle as you would be able to talk your wife into this. Needle in a haystack. Finding a missing sock, likely as finding a needle in a haystack. Not in a million years. Not in a million years would I ever go on a date again with her. Be a cold day in July, be a cold day in hell, cold day in June, cold day in August, before I even think about going skydiving. That idea's got a snowball's chance in hell. Our team has a snowball's chance in hell going to the playoffs. The first of never. When do I expect him to do what he promised? On the first of never. And this is one that is just kind of weird, but it got me because of the blossom thing. When salt blossoms. I'll go back to that place when salt blossoms. So what are some what are some inventive ways that we could come up with our own and make it, like spin it out there in the universe and see if it comes out to us. Um, when the cows come home. So I'm thinking, what's something that we could do with when something flies? When fish fly, but there's flying fish. That doesn't work. When a rattlesnake flies. Christy says the Never's Day, St. Never's Day sounds like something I would say. It does, doesn't it? Because it has that little bit of snark in it. Little bit of snark. Oh yeah, you do that on St. Never's Day. My sister has 2.5 dogs. They have two little dogs, and then they have a third dog, Millie, who's just like half a dog. It's like about that big. It's like half a dog. But she got the part that poops and barks, so she got that half. Yeah, when Millie stops barking when I come in the room. How's that? For a never. Trying to think of just like cool sayings, ways to say, ways to get something across like that'll never happen. To come up with our own phrase. You know, I know how these guys get so close to each other because I'm sitting here and I can't think of anything other than something flying and something blossoming. I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. Not the same thing, but it's kind of the same thing. I mean, it's not saying something's impossible until we dream of life and life becomes a dream. That was a girl that sent that in, wasn't it? Yeah. The dream, life becomes a dream. Life becomes a dream. Ba 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 boom. Da-da. So, didn't there used to be a song? We don't know, Andy. You can't carry a tune, and we don't recognize it. So, until we dream of life and life becomes a dream, till the cows come home. There would be some ones that you could come up with that were personal, and nobody would know what you're talking about. Like I'm seeing the palm tree out there, you know. When will you know a hurricane has beaten you? When palm trees fall. Those are the one things you see around here after hurricanes. You don't see palm trees that have fallen. And you know, after Hurricane Ivan, we planted palm trees back of our house, and so went through a couple of more hurricanes with those palm trees, and then one hurricane it washed some stuff away, and the roots of the palm tree were kind of exposed. And man, the roots, you see that palm tree right out there? The roots would run from there to me, and then that far that way. And I don't know how deep, but it's obvious. Is that Brent Burns? Is that Brent? Brent said, when snowbirds fly. You know, Brent is the one, you know who Brent is, don't you? Oh, come on. You guys got to know who Brent is. Yeah, there you go. All right. Yeah, Brent, for you guys, I would say you either love him if you got a great sense of humor or you hate him if you don't. Because Brent's the one who wrote, if it's snowbird season, why can't we shoot 'em? Whack 'em and stack 'em and send 'em back overnight air. So take your big car and your attitude and your wife's blue hair. Don't tell us how you do it back home because we don't care. That's the song. Brent actually he wrote a song during the Arab oil embargo when Jimmy Carter was president, and Paul Harvey, who had never played a song on his broadcast, played that song 3 different days. It was a song that Brent wrote and performed called Cheaper Crude or No More Food. And Paul Harvey played that 3 times. And so then, of course, the snowbird season's his big one. So, but you guys seem to have behaved yourself this time. We're not hearing any crazy stories about snowbirds. So some of you are getting out of town without it even doing anything to anybody. So, you know, the rumors about y'all are just, y'all just come in and take over, and we like you here. We like having you in the studio. Kevin Perkins, how are you doing? Kevin Tim Perkins. What do you think about those texts I sent you earlier? I sent Kevin some little short videos of 2 of our girls on the team. One is a 9th grader who's a pitcher that throws 67 miles an hour in the 9th grade. And the other one is a 10th grader. She's our center fielder, Elsie Robbins, and it shows her in the batting cages. And so you look at these girls doing what they're doing, and you're like, holy cow. I mean, because LC, last year in the 9th grade, she was our number 9 hitter. And there was one game she hit 2 over the fence. I mean, if you can't pitch around your number 9 hitter, you're just stuck, you know. And we had 14 different girls last year hit the ball over the fence. 14 different girls, which is crazy. You know, on a kind of a blueprint of the baseball diamond, there's 6 infield positions: pitcher, catcher, first, second, shortstop, and third. We have 6 positions in the infield that have college scholarships already, and 2 of the backups have college scholarships. I mean, can you believe that? We got 8 college scholarships recommended that are 8 college scholarships that are happening from 6 positions on the field. And then the only reason the outfielders haven't gotten college offers yet is because they're too young. Because you can't get an offer from a college until September 1st of your 11th grade year. And we've got a 9th grader in right field, a 10th grader in center field, and a 10th grader in left field. These girls are just unbelievable, though. I mean, they are unreal. And so if you're in town, I think next week they play a game at home. So if you're in town, you know, you can take your sparkly rings and go and say, this is the snowbird version of your national championship ring. And just flash it all over it. Oh my gosh. Well, what are y'all doing the rest of the day? It's sunny. I don't know what I'm doing other than getting on a call and then I'm headed to Spanish Fort. I like to watch them warm up. So we got a good team this year, so it's going to be curious to see how this works out. Let me tell you, before I go, let me tell you a be true or BS. And you guys can tell me. I just finished writing this one back there about an hour ago. In 1962, Alvin Dark was the manager of the San Francisco Giants. And he was standing watching the team warm up beside a newspaper reporter. And Gaylord Perry stepped into the batting cage to take his swings. Gaylord Perry is a spitball pitcher. And, you know, I think he's already in the Hall of Fame. But he's known for pitching, not for hitting, which the pitchers are generally not known for hitting. But he was really not known for hitting. And so as he swung the bat a couple times in the cage, he got a hold of a couple of them. And the reporter said to Alvin Dark, he said, you know, that sounds like that pitcher you got there, that new pitcher, has some pop in his bat. And Alvin Dark said, no, don't be fooled. Said, Gaylord Perry is not a hitter, and there's no power there anyway. He won't hit. He said they'll put a man on the moon before Gaylord Perry hits a home run. So he said. So 8 years later, Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong landed the capsule on the moon. And 23 minutes later, Gaylord Perry went up to the plate, and one swing, he'd been up to the plate 500 times over the years, okay? But he went up to the plate and knocked it over the fence. 23 minutes after people land on the moon before Gaylord Perry hits home run. So is that true or BS? Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. True. You say it's BS. So we got some BS over here. I'm surprised that many of you think that is true. I mean, it is true, but I'm surprised that many of you think it is. But that is true. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? That is pretty amazing. That's one of my favorite stories. And if you're a subscriber to wisdomharbor.com, you'll see the game show that we do. I think there are already 3 that are on the streaming thing that you can already see, but where we'll do 10 at a time. And you can play at home and watch it, and you can do Be True or BS. I'm also going to be, I don't know if you guys know Rick Burgess, but Rick has a radio show up in Birmingham, and it's syndicated to 70 different stations. It used to be Rick and Bubba, now it's just Rick. And I'm going to be on that show every 2 weeks. Started like last Wednesday, and then skip tomorrow, and next week I'll be up there again. And we're doing some Be Trues or BS's on Rick's show. So that's usually 8 o'clock hour, but and for the next couple of times it's every other Wednesday. So if you get Rick where you are in your hometown, definitely listen. So we have a good time. Thank you for being here with us today. Thank you for being down here with us. Be careful going back. Don't freeze. And we'll see you next week or next year. Some of you, okay? But be careful. Drive carefully. Know we love you. keep watching at home. Join wisdomharbor.com. It's only $27 a year, and it'll keep you entertained 365 days a year. So take care. We love you. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.